afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this other edition of This Week in the News here on DBS television. We continue to share our joy and gratitude and celebrate with our Muslim brothers and sisters who are still, some of them are still celebrating the end of the holy month of Ramadan. But then life has to continue. That is why we have to keep talking about what affects us as a country. In today's edition of the program, we would be discussing current issues in our country, and then our guests are already in the studio. So let's welcome those of them who are already in the studio, as well as we'll be going out of the country to hook up with one of our guests who will be online from the United States of America. We'll begin with our guest who is already here, Mr. Kum Jerum. He is of the civil society. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for being here again this period.
Good afternoon, Mr. Venatius. Good afternoon to my co-panelists, and a wonderful celebration. I'm wishing the best to all the Muslim faithful who crowned their fasting and celebrated it yesterday and day before yesterday. I think it will be a week-long celebration.
Yes, that's why they say there's always for one week.
Exactly. So we equally thank the management of DBS television for giving us the opportunity to talk about important and critical issues affecting the lives of Cameroonians, which will go a long way to reshape minds and build a stronger future. Thank you very much, Mr. Venatius, as we get the ball setting.
Thank you so much. That's actually the purpose of this discussion, so that we let decision makers understand what the people think, what contribution the people can have for a better Cameroon, to making Cameroon a better place to live in. Mr. Akonuze Jean-Claude is equally in the studio. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for accepting to talk to us today.
Bonjour, Monsieur Mangué. Je dis également bonjour des millions d'auditeurs et de téléauditeurs. J'adresse également un bonjour républicain à tous les jeunes du Cameroun, à nos sympathisants, à nos militants et à tous ceux qui s'intéressent au changement dans notre pays.
Change in our country, actually, and that is what we will be discussing today, to talk about change in our country. The third guest is already in the studio, is making his way in. We were talking about Mr. NGANGWA Gabriel. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for accepting to talk to us today. It's a pleasure. Exactly. Thank you so much. As the cause is being planted, we try to, once our guest who will be hooking with us from the United States get on board, we will take him directly so that we can see what we can talk. But then we go on with our discussion. I will begin with Mr. Kum, who is here. Mr. Kum, we are talking about today's program. We'll be talking about the change in Cameroon. We saw the political change in the country, where Parliament had a change. When we say Parliament, is the lower and the upper chambers of Parliament. For the first time, I'll call it, after a very long period of time, we'll take the Senate. After 2013, when the Senate came on board, the first president has remained. We'll talk about the National Assembly. From 1992, we've had one president in the National Assembly. And we want to discuss this change in our country. We want to find out these changes in the Parliament. What impact can they bring? I'll begin with you, Mr. Kum. Change in this Parliament, is this a redistribution of power or just a reshufflement of, reshuffling of faces and seats in the National Assembly?
Thank you very much, Mr. Venatius. A change in the personalities at the Assembly of Cameroon, at the upper house and the Senate. Going back to, party alignment, politics, ideologies, we have sent Gabriel Gabriel at the helm of the Cameroon Assembly for a very long period of time.
From 1990.
Since 1992 till I think a week ago, when a new face came up. Now, talking about the impact it may have on the assembly and on the nation as a whole, Mr. Venatius, we have to understand the functioning and the ideology of the CPDM political party. To me, it is merely a change of face. Nothing will be changed, because I believe that people of this political party, to a greater extent, they are being dictated on what they have to dish out to the public, and even in the performance of their duties. Having Mr. Honorable Datul Theodore at the assembly, replacing Kavaye Yege Jibri, it's just a swap. If you want to talk about the geographical area of Cameroon, it's just a swap. Dacho is from the west region. Niat was from the west region. Meanwhile, the Lamido is
who is in the Senate.
Who is in the Senate is from the north region, where Kavaye actually was emanating from. So I don't expect great changes, because if it was democratically done, Cameroonians would have been looking at it from a different viewpoint, thinking that new energy, fresh impetus will be injected into the system, where people will be liberal, where the assembly will be considered as a separate and individual, arm of government, where they can take decision, freely act without fear of influence from whosoever, from the executive bench. Let me not say whosoever, because we know who and what has been influencing the assembly in Cameroon. But these two people, they are just taking over the relay, because these patriarchs have not been performing their duties because, one, of age. They have been frequently sick, absenteeism from their duties. So it's a continuation of what? The plan of action of the CPDM. Remember, they believe in what we call party discipline. So we're not expecting any great change from what has just happened at the Senate and in the Assembly in Cameroon. We will have expected that the Speaker of the National House of Assembly maybe come from the parliamentary minority. Yes, if somebody from PCRN or maybe NCF, CDU, and so on, if it could be in that line, we will have expect great changes, because we do not only need a change in faces, we need changes in ideology and in pattern of thinking, and in bringing in fresh knowledge, fresh ideas to revamp Cameroon, because we are sinking down the boat, because our ideas are archaic. They are still reflecting the ideas of the 60s. You see somebody 66 years is not youth, as others say, okay, they have to take 80-something year person and replace it with 66 years. That's equal age of retirement in Cameroon. We needed a young blood of about 40 years, 45 years, maximum 50, if I thought they were only to bring somebody from the CPDM party. Venatius, we are not expecting something new from this government. If they want to present us something new, the parliamentary or the legislative election will have come up before the presidential election, so that I don't want to go back to that. Yes, a lot of things will have been changed. So for now, we will just continue in the old dance system and style.
Now we'll come back. We'll come to studio, but we'll give priority to our guest who is out of the country. He is live from the United States of America. I'm talking of Dr. Stanley Fongot. He is a financial system architect and chief executive officer of the Croston FinTech. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for accepting to talk to us today in This Week in the News.
Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you so much, and good morning from this part of the world.
Already discussing about the recent changes at the Cameroon Parliament, that is the lower chamber and the upper chamber, where the president or speaker of the president of the Senate and the speaker of the National Assembly and the bureau entirely, some will change. we are finding out from you out there as a Cameroonian who has been following up what is happening. How do you look at this change? Is it just a redistribution of power or reshuffling of faces and seats from your point of view?
I think I will probably, tally in and be in the same frame of mind with my co-panelist, the one I just listened to lastly. Hopefully I'll get to know him better. And I think that what we have in Cameroon, actually, we do not have a parliamentary crisis. What we do have is a crisis of structure. And it has become a crisis of function because these institutions do exist. But the reality is we have to be able to find ways in which there is independence, especially when it comes to the distribution of powers, which is something that we are quite missing so far as Cameroon is concerned because of the way we are quite structured. We might look good on paper, especially when it comes to our structure. Reality is that when it comes to its function, I think that is where we are having a little bit more of a problem. So we have to be able to find ways in which we walk through that. What I'm thinking is that there has to be a lot of diversity, especially when it comes to our own conversations in the in places like the National Assembly and the Senate, which should not just be that there are lawmakers that are representing the interests of their different political parties. In this case, we have just too few political parties represented in National Assembly and in the Senate. And so we have to be able to make sure that we get a Senate that is actually working for the people. What does a Senate actually does? It's a place where ideas, especially when it comes to the interests, of regular Cameroonians, are debated and their interests are presented. That's what a Senate is supposed to be all about. And so unfortunately, if that's not the case, we get into this country where ideas are not debated. And what a society will be if ideas are not debated. I think that the one of the core values of democracy, it's the idea of freedom of speech. And the reality is that if you really will have freedom of speech, I think you have the right to be able to say something that will offend someone. Because if you have to think, you will be with someone crosshair because your thinking might be able to kind of infringe on somebody else's, ideas, and they might get upset about it. But we need that because that is the hallmark of democracy. We need to be able to have those ideas. And I think that when you have a structure that has become so just one-sided, the way things has become, that basically does not represent the core values of who we are as a people, because who we are as a people is really not represented. You just have a cohort of people who belong to a particular political party, and the interest of that political party is basically being, represented, as opposed to what is the interest of the average man on the street. How does this help the country? How does it help Cameroon? How does this make us better as a nation? And I think that if we lose the Senate, forget the presidency. If the Senate and the Senate and the National Assembly is not representing the values, is not speaking for the interests of the Cameroonians, then we have nothing to hold on to.
Thank you so much, sir. We will be coming back to you. Let us take some of our panelists who are here. I want to begin with Mr. Akono Zé. He is of the Jouvence Party. Mr. Akono, from your point of view, what is the single most visible, sign that our parliament has actually changed? Do you see it, that it has changed? Has our parliament changed?
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Mangue, de me passer la parole. Je vais essayer d'analyser ce qui s'est produit dans notre Parlement sur trois pistes. La première piste sera une piste systémique. L'animateur du système, le président du RDPC, avait annoncé une transition générationnelle. Mais nous savons que dans leur système, le changement se fait dans la continuité. Ce qui veut dire que les petits pas qui sont produits dans le Parlement ne sont pas un vrai changement, puisque c'est la même politique qui va continuer. Maintenant, sur la seconde phase, la seconde piste, la phase sociopolitique, nous observons quand même que l'honorable Datou est un peu jeune par rapport à l'honorable Kavaï,
Yes.
puisqu'il a 66 ans, et que l'honorable Abdoulaye Aboubakari
Aboubakari.
à 65 ans, il est un peu plus jeune
Niat.
par rapport à Niat.
Yes.
Là, on peut voir un petit rafraîchissement du Parlement. Cependant, si nous prenons le côté politicien, nous observerons que Kava Djibril était député dans l'extrême nord, dans le département du Mayo, ça va. Et son remplaçant est député dans le département du Ndé, à l'ouest.
L'ouest, yes.
Maintenant, au niveau du Sénat, Abdoulaye Boubakari est du nord, dans le département du Mayoré.
Yes.
Nous voyons donc qu'on a déboîté quelqu'un de l'extrême nord pour le remplacer par quelqu'un du nord.
Oui.
Mais à l'ouest, on a remis en place celui qui était remplacé. Ce qui pose un problème sur le plan politicien. Chaque région aussi attend sa part pour venir diriger une institution républicaine. Si on a dépossédé l'extrême nord attend sa part. Le nord-ouest attend sa part. Le centre attend sa part. Le littoral attend sa part. L'est attend sa part. Et même la Damawa attend encore sa part. Nous sommes donc dans cette situation actuellement où le pouvoir fait...
The center cannot be waiting because the president comes from the center.
Non. Le centre, c'est une région à part.
Ok.
Vous comprenez, M. Mangé?
Yes.
Chaque région attend sa part. Puisque c'est ça qu'on nous démontre là. Mais lorsqu'on rentre encore dans l'analyse profonde politicienne, pourquoi est-ce qu'on a choisi l'honorable Abdoulaye Boubakari? Nous voyons que le concurrent du président en place est du Nord, M. Issa Chiroma. Est-ce qu'on n'a pas choisi l'honorable Abdoulaye pour présider le Sénat pour essayer d'atténuer la contestation du Nord et d'éteindre un peu l'effet Issa,
The flame.
la flamme de
Yes.
Issa Chiroma? C'est la question que nous nous posons jusqu'à présent dans notre parti.
Thank you. We'll be coming back to you. I'll take Mr. Ngangwa. From your own point of view as a Cameroonian too, do you think that with the seemingly change that we've had in the parliament, will there be a change in style of debate, quality of laws that will now come from the parliament, from your own point of view?
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Venantius. I want to first of all say that it's a wonderful thing that has happened. Because since I started school, I've been hearing of one name. That's, yes, the outgoing president of the National Assembly. And I've heard the president of the Senate too for some time.
Since 2013?
Yes. I think 34 years is enough. It's even more than enough. Within this period, we should have had like 4 to 5
Exactly.
presidents of the National Assembly. But if it's coming now, I think we need to welcome it with open hands. It's important because, first of all, it's going to create a kind of administrative stability, yes, in Cameroon, because we've been missing that for some time. Like, there are a lot of occasions that we expect to see those faces.
But we don't see them.
But we don't see them. So what is
We must indicate that Kavayi Djibril himself was not present for his New Year organized by the National Assembly.
That is just the latest, amidst many others.
Last year, the Senator Nyat Jifenje was absent the whole year.
Of course. So I think this change is coming to bring to reinstall that administrative stability that we've been missing for some time, and it's really very good. If Honorable Theodore is coming in at I think 64, it's actually good, though he's still comparatively older than Kavayi Djibril. What am I saying? Logically, when Kavayi took power, he was, I think, 52.
Okay.
Yes, when he came into
that was 1992.
1992, because he was there for 34 years.
Yes, about.
Means that he was 52. Comparatively younger than who is coming in now. So logically, we'll see that there's still a problem. But at least it's better because we know that administratively we are going to be stable somehow. But we still have continued dominance. Because when you look at the change, there's actually no change. The change is actually not really a change, as I can say, because everything is within the same party. If the people coming in were from a different political party, I would have said there's actually a change going on. But there are people of the same circle, which means the same principle, the same policies are going to continue. But with fresh minds. My co-panelists talked about fresh impetus. I think they're actually going to inject fresh impetus because we have actually a generational shift, and it's coming to cure that cry that has been for years, for decades. It's really good and something worth appreciating. Then when you look at the upper house of assembly too, when you look at the upper house of assembly, constitutionally in Cameroon, if the presidency is dormant, I think the next to take command is the president of the Senate.
Yes.
Good. So it comes in now to influence to play.
It's not dormant, vacant.
Vacant rather. Yes, yes. So it comes in to influence the presidential succession politics in Cameroon, and it's very important. I think now I have a little piece in me, a little piece, just a little, because at first.
Why was that piece disturbed?
It was disturbed because if there was a vacancy, which means the president of Cameroon should be replaced for a while.
At least 90 days.
Yes, 90 days. The person stepping in should have been a 92-year-old somebody. In my country, I will not feel happy.
Exactly.
Yes, but as it stands now, I think somebody who is a little younger will take over if something like that happens. That is why I have to say so. Yes, so at least it's one of the key things that we have to talk about here. Just the fact that we are sure that if somebody is taking over as second, the person is a little young and can run around and do things and represent us better. It's a plus for Cameroon, though we still have some other problems. We have the change alone is going to bring a lot of the things that happened in Parliament. The changes that we have a lot of like we saw the extension in the mandate and things like that.
It is not yet confirmed. It's said said to have been a bill deposited that is purportedly to extend the mandate of MPs and councillors.
If at all such things happen, there is no smoke without fire. So if we start hearing of rumors like that, it means that there is something cooking. And if such things happen, it means they are actually placing our democracy at a dangerous state. Because if you keep pushing things, elections which were supposed to have been done, bills are fidgeting left and right to push them ahead, as we've been seeing and hearing, then it means that democracy is actually not democracy anymore. Again, my co-panelists who spoke in French talked about regional balance. It's actually a plus to some extent, because when you look critically, we discover that though the swap is not actually that efficient, because it's almost the same region except for the north that has changed from far north to north, but in the west it's still the same, but I still have peace in my mind because the person coming in too is a little younger. But in my opinion, the person should have come from a different region. We cannot take out somebody.
What do you mean by a different region?
Not the west.
Okay.
Yes.
Why?
Because the outgoing
was from the west. Okay.
The outgoing president of the Senate came from the west. And if somebody coming in is still from the west, then what about Douala? What about Bamenda? What about the southwest? Just like he said. So it creates if anyway, it's an initiative to bring about regional balance, but it can still bring regional instability if it is not well managed. Because some regions now will start asking questions. Is it that we are an insignificant part of the country, or why should these people have double advantage over us? So the bottom line here is that the changes in the lower and upper houses of assembly are very, very necessary. Yes, because I think though the changes are in the same party, the blood is fresh, and yes, they can lead us more.
Thank you. We have a fintech expert with us. I'm talking of Dr. Stanley Fongot from the United States. He is a fintech expert, financial system architect. We'll be coming to him to let's talk about the parliament and fintech architecture. But then let me take Mr. Kum, since he spoke about the purported bill to prolong the mandate of or extend the mandate of MPs and councillors. Do you judge the present parliament that we have democratically balanced, let me say democratically mature, to turn down this bill and say no, our mandate should not be extended again for the second time?
Well, Mr. Venatius, that is just something that one shouldn't even reflect or think twice. This is the present parliament. It's a parliament that
it was supposed to be, to appoint for elections in 2025.
Elections were supposed to have been organized, and since the system is being powered from a particular point, they do whatever they want to do, and it is an administrative failure. Each time we postpone. Why? To safeguard their interests. You can't take the Senate majority or the majority of the Assembly saying don't postpone. To them it's an advantage, because many of them, they didn't get to those positions through merit, through the ballot box. They know the games they played, and according to some of them, the extension should have even taken a longer time, so that, because this is their last privilege they are having, yes, so that they should reap for the last time, just like an actor going for the last fight. So actually, Mr. Venatius, all of this is happening because it is not, I wouldn't like hide it to say that we are in like a dictator kind of a country where decisions are taken from one point and being channeled to some structures called Senate, called Assembly. Those things are window dressing. The Senate does not do anything in this country without taking instruction from the head of the executive arm of government. That is a truism. Those things are just there to make us to understand the Constitution. If the Constitution, there are a lot of bills that were supposed to have been passed. It is still very unfortunate that if you want to do something like some common document, they will tell you either go back to your village of origin or you go to Yaoundé, or whereas they've been singing of decentralization in order to blindfold the people. Mr. Venatius, we need something modern. We need a Cameroon that live up to the realities of the 21st century, and if these arms of government were independent, they would have been able to do what? Vote laws.
So according to you, you don't consider the parliament an independent legislature in Cameroon?
It is not. If you let me just take a flashback of the election that took place a few months ago. Ndu and many localities in the northwest regions that have been deserted as a result of the crisis, they came out with some very large and fat figures, insinuating that people vote in this area, Mr. Venatius. No, it is not something that a Cameroonian we can sit here and say these people are the people. They know, they know, and that is why they continue to do the negative and the opposite. As you asked me, the postponement, yes, the majority CPDM parliamentarians, they are happy and even say, okay, our Lord.
Now, what about opposition party members who are there? Because it will also affect the whole mandate.
Mr. Venatius,
yes, the whole mandate will equally be extended.
No, let's face the reality. How many opposition parties are actually there? Those are compensations. Because if they will say,
compensation?
Okay, yes,
they were voted by their...
No.
Yes.
If they, it will be a shame to say you have 100% also in the parliament and the assembly. It is something that they organize.
It will become a one-party kind of system.
It will become like a one-party kind of stuff.
Assembly.
And they have succeeded to do that, because we have seen some vibrant guys who are coming up, like the guy of PCRN and OC Joshua, who has succeeded.
They are part of the bureau. They are part of the new bureau.
They are part of the bureau, part of the central bureau, RDPC, something like that. If you want me to put it like that.
They cannot be CPDM because they are opposition MPs in the house.
Mr. Venatius, one point I would like to cut across is that we are in a total tyranny and dictatorship. All this parliament, of what use is even assembly in Cameroon, or the Senate. The Senate, tell me, the real function of the Senate, they are not executing it because they are working for the people who have made it possible for them to be there. No, let's face fact before God and man. Do you think through a democratic election, Kavaye Yege Jibri, who is even unable, who was unable to pronounce his name, the name of his party, will have been voted over this period to be the president of the Cameroon Assembly? It's impossible. Masenyat, The same thing, who has been on sick bed for a long period of time, they just instruct celui-là, il doit être là-bas, même si il ne fait rien.
Okay.
It's time for us, at least.
All right. We'll come back to that very question. But then, like I was indicating, we have a fintech architect from the United States. I want to take Dr. Fongot. Dr. Parliament worldwide are struggling to keep up with digital finance, data protection, and AI in banking. With the current changes in Parliament, are we better placed to regulate fintech now in Cameroon, or are we still legislating with call it so a set of old heads, or let me put it, an analog mindset in a digital era?
Well, I think that's more of a trap, right? So asking me that question means that you don't want me to do work in Africa, or you don't want me to do work in Cameroon, because frankly speaking, I think if I have to respond to that question, I will be doing myself a whole lot of harm. But let me say this, by the way, I will. But let me say this, I think that pertaining to the few things I just heard, I think we have to be a little bit careful. Not because what my analysts are saying are completely wrong. I think that if you look at the substratum, at the basis of what is actually happening, we all in Cameroon has become a little bit more, I want to say, cohorts of whatever political fever is actually brewing in and has been brewing in the country. The notion that somebody has to come from a particular region to be able to serve the interests of Cameroon in itself quite diabolic. The notion that somebody has to replace another person from some other region in itself doesn't make any sense. But I understand, especially if everything has become so tribalistic and everything has become, in such a way that if you come from a particular region, you have to look for the interests of those in the particular region, not having a holistic approach of looking for the interests of the country, then I get it. But I think that there is something we need to grapple with. It is called equality of outcome. I think that equality of outcome, where we basically ginger the whole entire system so that we have certain outcomes, that's extremely dangerous. We need to be able to deal with something called equality of competence. That simply means somebody who is gifted about what they do, wherever they do it, however they do it, should be those who are in position. And I get the argument. Obviously, the people who should be able to give us what we want, especially looking at a holistic approach for the country, best interests of the country, are not always in power. But I think that we should absolutely push for equality of outcome, of competence, equality of outcome. That being said, I think that the situation that we have, especially within the fintech space, it's a tech problem that is brewing across the continent, but also very significantly in places like Cameroon. It is extremely quite difficult to begin to tell somebody about what AI is, and to tell somebody about the implications of AI when we have not even been able to make people understand the implications that exist so far as things like blockchain technology is concerned. We are still trying to talk about having a digital platform where we can be able to synchronize all of our information, all of our data into one place, and we have not achieved that. And we are talking about things that is quite abstract, but it's extremely quite real. The reality is that if you look at the country, all right, and one of the only reasons why some of these things actually do exist is because if you're talking about paper trail, you can recreate papers, you can do whatever you want to do, papers are concerned. But when you have a digital footprint that is basically locked up in something like a blockchain, it is extremely quite difficult to be able to manipulate that. And I think that when you begin to talk about some of the benefits of what a digital platform, which is locked up in an ecosystem that is within the blockchain system, is concerned, you will find a lot of people within the power structure says, wait a minute, hold up, we are not going to do that. And the reason for that is because then you take control out of the hands of humans and you put control in the hands of machines, which means the systems will not lie. Numbers will not lie. So it is extremely quite difficult for us to be able to basically, even within the structures of the National Assembly or the Senate, make decisions for the country when we do not have proper data computation. So if I don't have real data, and if the data has been gingered up, if the data has been manipulated, and I have to be able to vote for a law, then it is not possible for me to vote in my right conscience, in my good mind, if what I'm given as data is faulty. So whatever becomes the outcome of my vote or my deliberation or my arguments will be based upon faulty data. I think that we have to be able to understand that and just understand how significant having a digital platform that basically synchronizes everything within the country is concerned. With that, which, believe me, we're just playing games. The rest of the world is moving forward. The world is changing. Things are transforming. We are moving in an age of artificial intelligence systems that basically are evolving. And yet, what is happening on the continent of Africa? For example, if you go on any of the AI models like ChatGPT, whatever model you're using, and you put in a query concerning anything that has to do with the continent of Africa, response that these AI models will give you will be informations that were written by people who were absolutely not even Africans. So we are not even participating in our own future. We are not participating in creating whatever narratives that we want so far as we are concerned as a people. The reason is because we are not interested in basically building these systems to tell the system who we are. I want to be able to tell whatever AI models, where I come from, what language is, what my cuisine as an African or a Cameroonian precisely from Bali is. I need to be able to make sure that they understand that, so that if somebody somewhere around the world basically asks a question concerning a particular cuisine or whatever stuff it is, so far as Cameroon is concerned, that information should be quite authentic. That information should be given, or the AI should have been trained by someone who is from among us. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So I think that we need to be able to start thinking a little bit more about where we go so far as tech is concerned, because we might be caught up within this space where we are talking about how messed up the system is, but yet forget that we can absolutely begin to bypass the noise, the chaos, and try to be able to build something and do something despite whatever is happening. I'm a big time believer that we must be able to look outside of, the current structure, whatever this structure is, and begin to build, focus a little bit more on the private sector and do whatever the private sector would have to do. Because if you're waiting for the government, if you're waiting for the government to get things done, I think that we will be waiting for a long, long time. Our history basically proves that.
But then I'll remain with you, Doctor. We are talking about, let us write our own history. Let us talk about us to the world. We tell the world who we are. Now, if you were to talk to this new, call it government in the parliament that we have, the changes that have affected the parliament, what is that major role? What is that major law that you think should be discussed and should be adopted in the parliament, so that it could change, reshape the future of fintech and financial inclusion, for example, in our country, so that the world can also know us? Which should be that flagship, that flagship law that you think should go, to be adopted?
I will be begging the government of Cameroon, I will be begging the government of most of our African countries to listen to their grandchildren, maybe great-grandchildren, because those are the people who basically have their fingerprints, they have the pulse, they're feeling the pulse of where the world is going. The world of the 70s is dead. The world of the 80s is gone. The world of the 90s no longer exist. And the 2000s is barely lingering on. And whatever happens between 2010 and 2020 is obsolete as we speak. We are living in the world that has dramatically changed, especially in tech. As of 2016, the world changed. but nobody took notice about the world changing in 2016. In 2016 was the first time we basically had an AI model that was able to think for itself. You need to be able to learn about Move 37 within the game that was created by DeepMind called AlphaGo, to play Go, an ancient Chinese game which is more than 3,000 years old, the most complicated game in the world, and it beat the best human in that particular game the year March of 2016. So my point is, you need to listen to your great-grandchildren. They understand where the world is going. And unfortunately, within the context of the environment in which we are living in, I don't know exactly what you want me to say. Do we go back to school and start teaching our great-grandparents on technology, on what's happening within the tech space? Absolutely counterproductive. We now need to be able to to beg and say, for legacy's sake, for posterity's sake, for us to be able to take this gigantic machine that you have built. This was a good run. It was a fantastic run. They did the best they could within the parameters of whatever they were given. We get that. I think that also we look back at history and see that was all that was humanly possible. In the present, what we are saying is now there's a whole lot more that is humanly possible that other countries are benefiting from. Look at countries like Nigeria. Look at countries like Kenya. Look at countries like Ghana, and see how great these countries have become. And you're asking yourselves, where do we go from here? And I think that that's what we need to do. We must be able to beg. I don't know what to use. Even if we have to go on our knees and say, please listen, this is to the interest not just of you, but for your own legacy. Listen to your great-grandchildren. Believe me, we know what we were talking about.
So much. We would be coming back to you to continue this discussion, but then I will take Mr. Akono. If you listen to what Doctor was indicating out there, we need to listen to our children. It brings in the contribution of the youth in the future of this country. Whether we like it or not, we are no longer at the period where we can sideline the youth. We will not remain in the same slogan that youths are the future of tomorrow, when that tomorrow will never come. Now, when you look at what is happening, do you think that the youths have that place? They are giving that place that was promised in when President Paul Biya took another mandate. He said he's giving a pride of place to youth and women. On the 10th of February, he still reiterated his promise to bring the youth into leadership position. But when we start looking at maybe from the National Assembly, do we consider this ages 86, 60, 64? Are these the youth?
Merci beaucoup de me redonner la parole, Monsieur Mangué. Évidemment, le chef de l'État a annoncé que son mandat sera celui des jeunes et des femmes. Mais en réalité, lorsqu'on observe ce qui se passe, comme vous l'avez indiqué, à l'Assemblée nationale et au Sénat, nous constatons que la jeunesse du RDPC, c'est à partir de 60 ans.
Okay.
Les jeunes de 23 ans, 30 ans, 40 ans, 50 ans ne sont pas les jeunes pour le RDPC.
Maybe they're not yet mature.
Non, pour eux, ce ne sont pas des jeunes là-bas. Vous voyez donc à peu près comment les jeunes sont encore une fois de plus écartés des affaires de la République. Et cela doit donner beaucoup plus de consistance, beaucoup plus de volonté aux jeunes de s'inscrire massivement sur les listes électorales et de participer aux élections prochaines, même si elles ont lieu dans 4 ans, pour essayer de peser avec tout leur poids. Nous constatons que les 90 ans cèdent la place aux 60 ans, l'écart est de 30 ans. Et nous pensons également que pour que les 60 ans actuels, qui sont la génération la plus détestable que le Cameroun n'ait jamais eue, parce que ce sont les plus grands corrupteurs, plus grands corrompus, plus grands détourneurs, c'est eux qui mettent le Cameroun à mal. Et avec les manipulations que nous observons, c'est entre leurs mains que le pouvoir risque d'échoir. Parce que lorsqu'on voit les âges qui sont à l'Assemblée et au Sénat, cela suppose que c'est eux qui vont gouverner, qui vont présider à la transition. Par conséquent, il n'est pas exclu que le futur chef d'État soit dans cette tranche d'âge. Et l'autre jeunesse, la majorité, est toujours écartée des affaires de la République. Elle doit donc se battre pour participer, pour imposer sa présence. Parce que le feu de lance de la nation, ça doit être maintenant. Ce n'est plus demain. La jeunesse doit prendre en main son destin pour montrer qu'elle a de la valeur, elle a la consistance et qu'elle mérite la confiance de la République. Voilà ce que nous pensons. Assurance.
Thank you so much. Let's take Mr. NGANGWA. We were talking about the change and the possibility of having the mandate of MPs extended. Now, when you look at it, how do you think that this mandate, if it will be extended, because the bill is still on the table to be discussed and adopted? If adopted, if the upper house finally adopts it equally, they will send it to the executive to make it a law and then extend their mandate. Now, how would that affect the image of these people we have in the assembly? They are supposed to represent us. How does it affect the image that you, as a Cameroonian, you as a young man, how do you look at them? Is it those people who just want to remain there? If there is any opportunity, like Mr. Kum was saying, they just seize it with all hands? Or do they really think about the youth and say that we have to go in and give way for others? Life should go. The constitution should be, upheld as it's supposed to be.
Thank you, Mr. Venatius. I think Cameroon is a democratic country, and adding the mandates is uncalled for. I cannot support that. And you're asking about those that are there and their image. I think it's going to play down on their image. Because
what Cameroonians will look at them.
Yes. Because if they are really just, then they should fight against that. It should not be added. Yes, it should not be added. Though some people will say adding the mandate is economical.
That will be the second time because mandate was extended in 2024.
According to people who argue for that, they will say it is economical, and if it's even increased again, it will be more economical because it will be a waste of resources to organize elections within very short periods of time. So when you add the mandate to become very long, it will take a longer time, and the resources that would have been wasted organizing elections left and right will be saved. I don't know what you think about that, but to me it's crazy. I think it's going to spoil their image, and if they are really wise and they want to stay pew, they should fight against that. Let the mandate remain as it is, so that other people will have the advantage to also rule and promote growth in the country, because it's not only a one-man kind of thing. There are a lot of people with potential.
What do you mean by growth in the country?
Cameroon has a lot of things that have not been exploited, and I think knowledge doesn't stay in one house. So if you are there and you do your best, you can also give space for another person to do his best and push the country forward. That is what I actually mean. So I think those people should fight against that and let the mandate not. Thank God it is just alleged.
The bill is already there. That's why I was asking Mr. Kum whether you see them politically mature to say that no, we don't want to extend this mandate again. Let's go for election.
It has not yet been extended. I think so, and we pray that it should not be. Yes.
And if you follow the way things have been in Cameroon, there are possibilities that
it is already extended
because once
prophetic.
The parliament that we have, once a bill comes in, it just clap and it goes through.
It just goes through. The bill is just like an instruction that, okay, do like this, do like this. Whatever thing they are doing there is formality to see into it that things have been done. We pray for a very great Messiah, and the time is here.
A Moses.
A Moses to see us through.
Wait, let me remain with you, Mr. Kum. How would that affect the daily lives of Cameroonians if their mandate is extended?
The daily lives of Cameroonians will move from bad to worse and from worse to worst. Why? Some of these people know that if they go in for a genuine election, they will not have a place. Because the little investment budgets, they call it maybe the resources that have been leaving the state to their various constituencies, they have been using it for their personal aggrandizement. They have been using it for their own personal selves. Them, Mr. Venatius, I mean these deputies, they will be very happy, and they will take this advantage to continue with their one misappropriation, embezzlement to their apex. Because it is like giving you an injury time, and you have a golden spoon to do whatever you want. But what we tell them that Cameroonians, we are watching, because for a time given, a country like Cameroon that gained independence in 1961, we still have divisional headquarters that are not even linked with mud roads. Roads are not rehabilitated, and every year we have people who enjoy fat sums of money in the names of MPs and senators. They grab this money to the detriment of the local population. They don't even take the voices of these people, so they will be very happy to take this extension of their mandate.
They don't live in their
constituencies, and they do everything against. I don't even know how we do this thing in Cameroon. A parliamentarian is somebody who represents a group of people,
a constituency.
He represents a constituency, and he carries the worries of this constituency to the assembly, fight for it, defend it, and make sure that he lobbies for projects. I am from Womb. For God's sake, in the rainy season, you cannot go to that area.
There's an MP in Womb.
There is an MP in Womb. There is a senator in Womb. Womb happens to be one of the pioneer divisions in the northwest, and almost the largest in terms of surface area. These people have been in the assembly for a longer period of time. Even to rehabilitate, it is impossible. And Womb falls among the areas of the ring roads. Venatius, wait, the time is coming. Somebody will come out and say the president has done everything possible. The commonest thing that you can give to that my grandma in the village is the road. That potatoes that woman is selling, it's not even selling, it's dashing. A tin of potato 500. If there is a road, it will bring it to Bamenda, to Douala, and at least it will compensate her. So it is extreme wickedness. The least thing that can be given to the people is the roads. Potable water does not exist. Since the crisis that electric poles were cut down in Womb and the whole of Menchum, I'm talking of Womb. Womb is like the headquarters of Menchum division. Womb does not have electricity since 2017. Yes, since 2017, I'm speaking out loud. They don't have electricity, and we have people who have been in the office of senator, in the office of parliamentarian for almost 3 mandates.
How did they get to these very localities also? Because
Mr. Venatius, these people, they have the means. The taxpayers' money is being channeled into private pocket, and the money that has been made for the rehabilitation and the realization of basic project, they put it for their personal means. He want to go to Womb, he hire an helicopter and he lands him in Womb. Drops him. He finish his mission and he's about to go. He book an appointment for another helicopter. He's gone.
When he will organize party, he will organize occasion, the very villagers who voted them will come out and clap for them. It's like endorsing them to go on.
These people have what we call the central or the main political party in Cameroon has put in place. They put the people through what we call acute suffering, misery, and disadvantage in the way that you show 1,000 to somebody, it will be as if you have shown the person 1 million. I mean, somebody with full potential, because you have taken away all his genuine advantages, what he was supposed to enjoy by merit. Let's just take for competitive entrance examination. Somebody who is knowledgeable, somebody who is very intelligent and can do it. You have taken away all these advantages, you cannot do it. Now you just come and throw anything. He will just see you like a messiah. And that is why many Cameroonians do not even know that the problems we have in this our country are most of these our brothers. We have voted them and they are supporting a very bad regime. I will never say this regime of RDPC they will have anything good to offer, because somebody, the parliamentarian
CPDM is not that bad.
They are bad. The parliamentarian in my area, when NCF was ruling, the last NCF parliamentarian, Honorable Ka Amam, we had motorable routes. We had Guarantee Express going down to Womb for 800 francs. Amo Mezam, Vatican, Symbol of Unity Express, and many other private, they were going to Womb, 800 francs, 1,200 francs, maximum 2,000.
What is the situation now?
The situation in Womb now, Lias cannot go down to womb. A bus does not go to womb. I'm not exaggerating. People go to womb on bikes,
And
you
cost?
pay 10,000 francs
Between Bamenda and Womb.
between Bamenda and
What's the
womb.
distance?
Between Bamenda and Womb, it is estimated to be 80 kilometers. Bamenda and Womb is 80 kilometers, and you pay 10,000 francs on a good day. On a bad day, you pay 15,000 francs, and you must double. You cannot carry luggage. The bike man will take 10,000 times 2 to cover the cost of petrol and whatsoever they are doing. And we have people coming from this place. SDF, why do I say I for once have a little bit weakness SDF rulership. The road was rehabilitated. All these agencies have cited. If I'm going to Womb, I just need to go to Bonaberi here. I pay Symbol of Unity, Amun Mezam, Vatican, and the rest. I just pay everything 6,000. As I go to Bamenda, they just transfer me to another small boy that will leave me. But now it is completely opposite. To leave Bamenda and reach Womb, if you don't have 20-something thousand, forget. If you don't have 50,000 a level 2, it will not be possible. But yet we have people who are acclaiming and even coming out on social media to say that President Paul Biya has done everything that he has done for the people. And I say the basic thing you can give me, according to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we need water, medical care, we need roads. This thing does not exist. It's just as, I don't know how to put it. We've relegated the people. They don't have water. They don't have electricity. They don't have roads. They don't have roads. The basic, the smallest. And we are acclaiming a system. They should just abandon and go them.
Okay. We will take we'll take Doctor before we come back to Mr. Akono. Mr. Akono, we'll be coming back to you in relation to this postponing of this mandate of MPs. But then we go over to Doctor. Doctor, we have the Cameroonian diaspora out there. They have, they can compare and contrast what they have there as institutions. I'm talking of the Senate out there and the Senate we have back home. The Assembly we have there, or the House of Representatives that we have out there, and what we have back home. What contribution do you think that we can copy from out there and let what we have at home, if it could affect the lives of the people, like Mr. Kumi is indicating, for those in Minchup Division?
Well, first of all, I think that he said something, Mr. Kumba said something that was, very revealing. I mean, he spoke of the fact that when the CPDM, when the SDF was in power, in that part, transportation cost was extremely quite low. Then the SDF guy came into, then, things basically change. I think that which basically means that, the failure is actually not within the structure. It's just that have no checks and, balances, no mechanism within the structure to be able to hold people accountable who basically, do what they're not supposed to do. I think that the time has come when we really must be able to make sure that the law exists on both sides of the aisle, on both sides of the fence. You cannot hold people accountable and lock people up for petty theft, and then you celebrate them when they carry the whole country into their own hands. I think that we need to be able to make sure that, we do that. Secondly, look, we've gone through a lot of crisis. I'm not speaking for the political power in Cameroon. We have gone through a lot of crisis within the Northwest region, and I don't think that anybody with their right mind will be thinking about digging any road anywhere in the Northwest region without serious heavy security. We've been through a crisis. Maybe we need to be able to figure out how to exit this crisis, how to be able to make sure that there's a general consensus to reintegrate folks who are basically on the fringes of our own society in the Northwest region, so that we can begin to grow again and have our cultures, have our dignity as a people in our own homeland. It is something that we need to do. I think that there has to be concerted effort within that front so that all of us can be together again as just one big, happy family, and to be able to work with our own problems within the confines of our own home and struggle to build, from the arches. Again, yes, of course, I'm in the diaspora. There's a lot of Africans, Cameroonians in the diaspora who basically have seen how the West works. For more than 2 decades, I have watched the systems out here basically work for the people. A couple of days ago, there was a guy trending online because that was Professor Baraka, I think Baraka, trending because of his university in Yaoundé and the University of Boya. In an ideal environment where systems do work, you will not absolutely have anybody basically saying that. So he comes out, he's extremely quite upset. A lot of people think that he's speaking, he's quite arrogant about it. And then he's basically forced to do, to give an apology. And listening to him give an apology, you will think that it was like a hostage tip, because frankly speaking, I could feel the pain that he had in the first place when he was saying the things that he said. The reality is that we do not have working systems. Our structures are completely, not working. And so, the last time I was in an African country, I'm going to leave unnamed. It was in West Africa. I went into an office, I deposited a document, and the person looked at me and asked me if that was all. I said, based upon the list that I was given, what I ought to have given, the business registered, the list is okay. I've checked all the boxes. But the guy looked at me and said, there's a particular box that you have not checked yet. For us to be able to move this document to the areas that they need to be moved in, you need to be able to check this box. And that box is invincible. That box is not traceable. That box is called bribe. You must be able to pay somebody to do what they're supposed to do. The whole entire system, it's basically needs to be overhauled. And so, if you're asking me what we have learned from the West, we have learned from the West that systems work and that systems are respected, that the rules of law are respected. We have learned from the West that people stop at traffic lights. As simple as that. That when you drive your car, you come to a traffic light. When it's red, red means stop. When it's yellow, yellow means prepare to stop. When it's green, green means go. I drive my car I come to a traffic light and I stop. And a taxi guy or a private driver on both sides of my car, on illegal lanes, look at me and ask me a question. What are you trying to prove? What are you trying to show? My friend, move. Of course, I'm obstructing them. I'm disturbing them by obeying and respecting the traffic light. So if you're asking me, where do we start? I think that first of all, every single Cameroonian needs a mirror. Every Cameroonian needs a mirror. And if we basically fix whatever we see in the mirror, I think that we can fix the country. One of my best, most trusted, psychologist, philosopher, Dr. Jordan Peterson, has this book called 12 Rules for Life. And I think rule number 1, actually, he basically says, you know what? Fix your room, make up your bed. And I think that that's quite telling. If you're able to just begin by doing the basics, there are a platter of things, a buffet of things, a cocktail of them, all right, that we can be able to give. We can daisy chain this particular stuff to be 1,000-mile long of the possibilities and the things that we can do to go to change the country. But believe me, the very first level of change will have to start with us, the mirror. If you can fix whatever you see in the mirror, if you can convince yourself that what you need to change first before you change any other person is this entity in the mirror, then believe me, by the time you come into the public arena, the change will be easy because you will have understood the very basics of what needs to be done. And if everybody understood that, then everything will be okay. I think that what the diaspora has to offer is just the fact that the systems in the Western world actually works. And unfortunately, those back home does not.
That slogan, you need to fix the image that you have, the person that you have on that mirror, and every other thing will fall in line. I'll take Mr. Akono. Mr. Akono, we are talking about our nation. We are talking about things happening in our nation. And accordingly, like Mr. Kumbo was indicating, the bill for the postponement of the mandate of MPs will likely pass through without any hesitation. But then, when we look at it, in 2025, we had for the very first time, Elekam had to register at least or at most 11 million Cameroonians for the last presidential election. We witnessed a presidential election with massive participation that we've never had. Now we were heading towards another elections that was promised to be in 2026, and from the look of things, that election may not take place. As a politician, how do you think postponing the mandate of MPs and councillors will affect that, you know, that seriousness, that active participation of Cameroonians that we saw in the presidential election? Do you still see it being translated into local elections that are likely going to be postponed again?
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Mangué, de me redonner la parole. Nous croyons que la prorogation des délais ou des dates d'élection constitue une tricherie électorale. Mais nous encourageons le RDPC à proroger ces dates pour encourager les jeunes à s'inscrire davantage et massivement sur l'électoral.
Would that not kill that flame that the youth already have?
Au contraire, les jeunes doivent être galvanisés. Quand j'ai suivi ce que mon frère Koum raconte à propos de Woum par rapport à Bamenda, pas de route, pas d'eau, pas d'électricité. Cela doit plutôt donner aux jeunes une force extraordinaire pour aller s'inscrire sur les listes électorales et dépasser même 12 millions d'inscrits. Pour que le moment venu, même si dans 4 ans, qu'on mette ce régime RDPC dans la poubelle. C'est inadmissible, incroyable. Alors que chaque année, il y a le budget d'investissement public qu'on appelle le BIP. Il y a même le fonds routier. Que fait-on avec cet argent dans la région du Nord-Ouest? Donc, nous pensons donc que, comme ils sont en train de manœuvrer pour ne pas avoir les... Parce que nous constatons que le RDPC a une peur bleue des élections. Il refuse les élections. Mais c'est bon. Parce que, puisqu'il refuse les élections, les scandales ne font que se multiplier, que les jeunes s'inscrivent, qu'ils s'inscrivent massivement, plus qu'avant, que nous dépassions même le cap de 12 millions d'inscrits. Et que le moment venu, que tous les jeunes, que tous les citoyens votent contre ce régime qui met à mal la cohésion, qui met à mal la vie dans la République du Cameroun. Entre-temps, nous pensons que dans notre parti, nous sommes disponibles à recevoir les candidatures de tous les jeunes qui veulent venir à Jouvence. Nous les présenterons comme candidats. Parce que le Cameroun appartient aux jeunes. Et ce sont les jeunes qui peuvent apporter un véritable changement dans ce pays. Le changement qu'il faut dans ce pays est un changement de rupture. Puisque le RDPC, c'est un changement de continuité, qui est un changement de petits pas, où on fait tout en fonction des personnes qui sont en place. Or, nous pensons qu'il faut penser le Cameroun dans 50 ans, le Cameroun dans 100 ans. Et pour cela, les jeunes doivent être aux affaires. Et c'est pas l'élection que les jeunes peuvent acquérir ce pouvoir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Akono. We would have loved to continue in this, but then we have another topic that we have to touch, and for time constraint, let us leave about the parliament and we talk other things. Football, you know, there is no way we can talk, you know, we can keep football aside. Somebody says the opium of the people, but then we want to understand that in the course of this week that or the week that just ended, the African, Cameroon and the world at large, you know, were taken aback with the decision of the Confederation of African Football, in which the 2025 champions of the AFCON competition, that was Senegal, had been stripped of their victory, and that victory was handed over to Morocco on the grounds that the players from Senegal abandoned the pitch for about 15 minutes, and later on the competition continued, ended in its normal time, and went on to extension. The goal was scored, and the referee ended the match as every other match has been ending. What we want to find out today, I'll begin with you, Mr. Gabriel. How does this decision affect the integrity of AFCON and its credibility?
Thank you so much, Mr. Venashos. I think that is one of the most controversial moments we've ever had in African football. It's actually very bad, and its damages could be so many. Because first of all, this plays down on the credibility of CAF. Yes, it can put such a massive stain on its institutional.
It can, or it has.
It has put. When I say it can put, it's because things are still developing. Yeah, so we cannot actually put a full stop as it stands now. It can actually put a massive stain on its institutional professionalism. Yes, a big football federation like this. They talked about stripping off Senegal of its AFCON title, because
Morocco is seen jubilating already,
saying that Senegal forfeited the match. My question is, how did they forfeit the match? They were out of the pitch for, I think, 17 minutes. Between 15 and 17
15 minutes.
Yes, but they went back. That was the right time for the decision to be taken. You people have gone out of the field. You have forfeited the match. We are now according 3 goals to Morocco and 0 to you people, in compliance with the rules of CAF. But they came back to the pitch, they played, they won, and they've been celebrating. So what are you doing, like a big institution? Now people are placing allegations on bias. They say they are biased. CAF is corrupt. So it's actually not good. It is dangerous for such an institution. And when you look at something like this, if care is not taken, it gives precedence for future changes that we may not like. If things like this happen in a continental football federation like CAF, it means that tomorrow you may be surprised that administrative decisions will override on-field results, which is not correct. It's uncalled for. A match cannot be played and won, and then we have a prolongation of over 2 months.
2 months, yes,
before results are released. It's not. No. It's not done anywhere like that. So it's not good. We have to be careful here, because results may be determined from offices or in courtrooms. Who knows? It will be odd for us to play a match at Omnisport, and later on, after 2 weeks, you hear results coming from Tinga, Food head office.
Yes.
No, it doesn't. We don't work like that. First of all, it plays down on the morals of the players. Think about Sadio Mane when he arrived Senegal.
The kind of welcome that was given, yes,
it was a different atmosphere. He took off the trophy. He was happy. Everybody was happy. The president was happy. And then now you want to strip them off of that the title. It doesn't work like that. You want to play down on their morals. It makes the players to feel that their hard work is not compensated.
Their hard work is not felt on the field.
Yes.
Maybe it's determined
because
from the office.
They put in a lot of effort.
Injuries,
to assume that victory.
All those,
they went through a lot of humiliation. Let's go back to what happened on the pitch. And what you have noted here is the fact that before this match, a lot of things happened that created an atmosphere of suspicion around Morocco. First of all, look at the match with Tanzania. We were deprived of a penalty during the 90th minute against Senegal, against Morocco.
Morocco, yes.
Look at Cameroon was deprived of 2 penalties during the quarterfinals. Look at the match with Nigeria. They left the field, the semi-finals. They left the field disgruntled. And when you look at it again, well, the circumstances, the match was played in the Rabat Stadium in Morocco. But what happens there was not really friendly. I mean, look at the issue of stealing the Senegalese goalkeeper's towel. I mean, they said he was supposed to be behind. Yes, he was supposed to be there. But what happened?
Do people have the right, those who are right, to come and taking it out?
And that is why the assistant goalkeeper actually rushed over to help. And he was wrestled down by the ball boys. So I think if CAF was just enough, they should have looked into this. I believe if CAF was just enough, yes,
it implies that
they didn't do something.
Okay.
Yes,
they were not just.
Surely.
Okay.
Because if somebody can be wrestled down because of his towel, what he's using to wipe his hands, because when you're in the field, your hands are sticky.
Of course, given that
the ball boys even wrestled the assistant goalkeeper down.
Yes.
And the same thing happened to Nwabali of Nigeria. They stole his towel, and these guys became very rude. And I think I'm happy for Senegal. I'm happy they did that because it exposed a lot of things. It exposed a lot of things. But if that is the turn football is taking in Africa, I think it's really disgraceful, and it is a call for concern. And if we are not careful, this can create division among African countries. We are not talking about a little country here. We are talking about Morocco, a country that has played right to the semi-finals of World Cup. But if you are not careful at this point, they are going to quench the flames that they already have as a big team. We are talking about the Atlas Lions. They have achieved a lot, and it should not be AFCON or something like this, which is visible in front of the whole world, that should bring them down. It's not actually good. It can bring division among countries, because first of all, as that's happened, there are countries that are supporting Senegal. Don't return the trophy. there are countries that will obviously support Morocco.
Yes.
Go and get what is yours. So what seed are we planting now? A seed of division, which is actually very bad. In the end, I think Senegal is a good country. Morocco is a good country. They are powerful countries when it comes to football in Africa. And we just pray that peace should reign. Let the trophy rest where it's supposed to rest. And if
what do you mean where it's supposed to? Supposed to according to who?
According to the results that we all know. Now look at this.
According to
the results we saw at the field, at the pitch.
Okay.
Now look at what happened
on the field results.
Yeah, good.
Yes.
Look at what happened after the match. When CAF finally made a decision to strip off Senegal of the title. Now we already have legal hearings going left and right. Because Senegal is already like tabling the matter before the arbitration court. Yes, the court of arbitration for sports. Now the impact here is it can be so funny, because if Senegal finally succeeds to defeat CAF in that court, then what happens to CAF? Credibility is lost. Gone. And if CAF succeeds to win Senegal over the case, what happens to the trust?
Okay,
the trust is no longer there.
All right, thank you. I'll take Mr. Kum. We'll come back to Dr. Obe. We'll take Mr. Kum first. Mr. Kum, is this a case of strict, application of rules, or bending these rules to satisfy political or commercial interest?
Mr. Venatius, before I will proceed, I will say, Patrice Motsepe, you have put what we called your credibility on the line as a president of CAF. I think there is a lot of blunder here. Morocco came in to win this trophy
at all cost.
Either in the office, in the field, or because we watch Moroccan matches and the federation favored them. Yes, I think there was some kind of bias, and every advantage was given to the host country, Morocco. But I will say here that something happened, because Morocco, what do we say? We are Africans, yes, but these are people who are full of a lot of this spirit of racism in them. There was a time these people said they are not Africans
when it came to
when it came to the World Cup. They said they were not Africans, and these are people who believe to be a little bit superior in one aspect or the other. They came with some kind of bias, and they were prepared in the negative aspect. But I want to say, every game has its own rules. Every sport has its own rules, and in the football match or in the football pitch, the referee is the final judge. The judge cannot take a decision and then the Minister of Justice say, okay, come back. The referee continued the match despite the fact that the Senegalese, because they didn't look into the cause, the reason why the Senegalese players had to vacate the pitch. They were disgruntled, they were cheated upon, but they came back. The match continued till the end. They awarded the title, they did the celebration in the presence of everybody, and then now we are coming back 2 months after. 2 months.
It's uncalled for.
I mean, Mr. Motsepe should he should resign. No, but that's a blow. That's a scandal. It has never happened because another country came up also that
that's Guinea. Was Guinea?
Yeah, long ago.
Yeah, long ago.
1979, 1976.
Yeah, 1976.
1976. Yes.
1976.
Yes.
A similar scenario happened with Morocco. So Morocco should bring back the trophy,
the long trophy that they had.
The long trophy that they had kept for
because they gave them
period of time.
Yes.
You know, Mr. Venatius, I just talk about this football issue because I'm one of those who believe that this has been an opium, especially to the African country, because it has gathered the African youths into a new kind of gambling they call XBet or whatsoever. People do not longer stay. It's an opium. We don't think of pressing issues that are affecting our growth and development. We are still striving to have basic needs, but in all Carrefour you see youth gathered playing this type of gambling and the rest. However, it is a sport and it has its own place in the life and development of the people, but we believe in the rules of every game. In the classroom, everywhere there are rules, and such rules should be applicable. And if you are the leader of a federation, you should be able to take the appropriate measures and decision, because online you could see many Africans calling for Samuel Eto'o to step up, because that's somebody who does not play as far as rules are concerned. There are not strings attached, no feelings, no emotions, because this thing, I think many must have exchanged place, or maybe these Moroccan people, did they take an oath somewhere that that cup must enter their country?
There was a competition that who wins.
I think we hosted AFCON and
we hosted and we had to let it go.
We lost it to Senegal. And football matches, like other sport, are won on the pitch, not in papers. So this decision by CAF is one discrediting. It has completely discredited African football that has been. I think this guy just want to spoil a lot of things in African football. That's why I outwardly tell him to resign. I mean, the Patrice Motsepe kind of a man, because he was talking of prolonging the AFCON to a period of about 4 years.
4 years.
And then touching also the African Championship.
You're not talking of prolonging. Accordingly, it has been, it's something that was already concluded.
Which is not good. That's a means to kill or slow down African football.
All right, let's take Doctor, who is out there. Doctor, you were indicating something to us about institutions out there that function according to rules. We were talking about Parliament and the Senate, but now we have football here, where rules are being, applied 2 months after, contrary to the very rules that they appear to protect and promote. Now, when it happens like that, what is the image of Africa that you people have out there, that the world has, when it comes to, is it that Africa is condemned to have this kind of thing when it comes to democracy? We have our own concept of democracy, its application. When it comes to football, we have our own rules. What image of Africa do we have out there following this controversy with the Confederation of African Football?
I think that the image of Africa, especially in the West, has been clearly defined. What we are experiencing now has nothing to do with the image. It's just a confirmation of what this world has always been so far as the image of Africa is concerned. And the reason for that is because everyone knows that Africa is corrupt. All right, everyone believes that Africa is extremely corrupt, and so when you see something like CAF, I think most of us forget that it was in 2018 when you had a Ghanaian journalist called Anas, who went out undercover and basically videotape a lot of sports guys that were referees who were collecting bribe. And I don't think that is anything that has been, that is quite different now. I believe sincerely that if you look at CAF is a disappointment. CAF does not have a talent problem. Africa produces some of the best footballers in the world. CAF has a governance problem, and the governance problem always become a trust problem. So CAF, as it stands, cannot be trusted. And I think that even the idea to call for the current president to resign in itself does not go far enough. I think that there has to be a way. Either we basically do what was done to the OAU, which was changed to the EU, might have to do that with CAF. We might have to change something. I think that CAF in itself, the name in itself, no longer represents African football in its true fairness. You might want to hand over CAF to those boys in the north, those who basically do not even consider themselves to be Africans. I'm talking about those guys in the Arab belt from Morocco all the way to Egypt. They might have to collect that stuff. And if anybody thinks that, what I'm saying is quite divisive, it is not my words, it is theirs. And I think that by the time we start talking about African football, we might look at African football south of the Sahara, sub-Saharan Africa, because in in itself, when you start having this level of entitlement, arrogance with those guys in and out, it is completely shameful. And the truth of the matter is, if you have this court, this arbitration court looks at this stuff and I want that stuff to Morocco, then I will have no other choice that when I become president of Cameroon, the very first thing I will do, absolutely will do, is that we will have to celebrate winning the World Cup during the Italian 90. And I think that Cameroon will have to basically do a whole grand ceremony, and basically create our own, I don't know exactly what we're going to do, manufacture a replica of the World Cup, host that stuff in Yaoundé, and invite people from around the world to come and celebrate, because we know we were not just robbed. It was armed robbery daylight in Italy, and that is well documented. And what we are seeing right now happening in Africa with CAF is not the armed robbery that is taking place, but this time around, the first time, it was Caucasians who did it, and then now what we are having is African Arabs. All right, I don't even know what they're Africans in more ways, to say the least, but these are Arabs who do it. So what does that mean? That means we need to be able to have Africans who can speak from an Afrocentric perspective, Africans who believe in Africa, who believe in who we are as a people, okay, who are not corrupt, who are not people who can be, swindled by money. Look, here's the truth. If you really wanted to stop corruption on the continent of Africa, I think that you probably might just have to build a gigantic prison around the whole entire damn continent, because it is bad. The corruption we have on the continent, it is so bad that if you had to lock people up in Kundenge, then maybe the whole entire continent should be Kundenge if you're in Cameroon, or Krikri if you're in Nigeria, or God knows, Robben's Island, South Africa or something. We need to be able to make sure that we absolutely destroy corruption. And for something as football, all right, you talk about being the opium of the people, which is, to me, again, it is quite disconcerting that we're more interested in a bunch of European and Africans playing football in Europe, that we waste our precious time thinking about, matches. We have this, we are either Barcelona, we are either God knows what those teams are on the African continent, and we spend our days, our time, wasting our times on social media to talk about whatever garbage is taking place in Europe so far as football is concerned. I don't care. What I care about is, what's the state of our roads, what's happening with our infrastructure, what's happening so far as our ports are concerned, what's happening so far as our railways are concerned, how we linking the continent together to make sure that goods and services flow smoothly within African countries. Maybe this CAF might also be another situation where we create something that is actually meaningful, but I'm not sure how we'll do that.
Unfortunately, Doctor, our producer is telling us that time is against us. We would love to continue with this discussion. It is something that affects all of us, and like you are saying, we would be leaving the studios, but to give way for another live program that will be coming up shortly. Thank you so much, Doctor, for accepting to talk to us from out there in the United States. Hoping to have you next time when we come knocking at your doors.
Thank you very much for joining us as well.
Thank you so much. Mr. Okono, I would love to continue with us, but the time is no longer. Hoping that we'll continue, because it is a development, like Mr. Gabriel was saying. We'll be coming back to it in a subsequent editions of the program.
From the time.
Thank you so much. Mr. Gabriel, thank you for having time to talk to us today.
Thank you, Mr. Venatius. The pleasure is mine.
Mr. Kum, thank you for being there today. Time is no longer on our side.
Thank you very much, Mr. Venatius. It's always a pleasure. We look forward to future,
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, you out there, for being there. We'll be back again next Sunday for another edition of This Week in the News. If you did not get us from the beginning, a rebroadcast will be yours tomorrow, Monday at 10:30 p.m. and then on Wednesday when it will be 2:30 p.m. Until then, have a blessed afternoon. Goodbye from all of us here.